Alright, we're going to be trying something a little different today. I don't know if I'll continue this. I'll see how this video does. If people like it. And I don't even care if, like, people don't... like, if I only get, like, one view, but the person who views it enjoys the video. That's all that matters. I want to be able to help people know what's good. So, it's going to be kind of like a two-part thing, and I kind of want to do this like every Monday, Wednesday, possibly, where I will talk about a specific weapon and build, and on Monday, which is today for me, and we'll discuss how you use it. We'll go through, we got the video in the background right here of the video that we will be uploading tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Wednesday. So that's kind of the idea. Then we got the gear and mutation page up here to help us discuss specific things, what makes the build strong, etc., etc. And today, we're going to be talking about Shrapnel Axe. So Wednesday, we'll be posting the Shrapnel Axe video, already recorded, already got it. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do, how to use it, what to pair it with, because, you know, I have clearly the throwing knives right here, but there's more stuff you can pair it with. So, let's start with what makes the Shrapnel Axe so strong to begin with. If we go to its page, which is right here, Shrapnel Axe. It is sort of like no other item in the game, because it's a melee weapon that has projectiles, and that's really the biggest strength of it. It's red-purple, so it also has some potential in both categories, which we'll talk about. The video that I'm going to be posting is a purple run, but we have a really interesting build with it, because for scary enemies like Oven Knights, actually let's get the enemy page up too. Shrapnel Axe excels in biomes and bosses, and that's what makes it so strong. I go back and forth on how strong I think it is. I would like to do a tier list at some point talking about all the items, but for now, beats zombies, beats archers. Shield bearers are probably one of the more annoying enemies for it. However, there are ways around that, because since it's on red and purple, it can run a bunch of different turrets and traps. So, not a huge issue. Bats, not too hard. You have a projectile. Runners, and that's really what it's good at, is that if an enemy is dangerous up close, you can attack them at a range. If an enemy is dangerous from far away, you can get up close and kill them in one shot, because Shrapnel Axe's base damage is really good. It says it's only 157 damage per second, and the first hit's only 45, but that damage with the shrapnel really adds up. So yeah, enemies, it's sort of every single enemy you can go through the list, and it does very good against all of them. Impalers are weird. Everything kind of sucks against them. Cleavers can be scary. Pirate captains can be scary. Slashers are obviously terrifying, but if you look through the list of enemies in the game, without going too deep into spoilers, this is 4BC only stuff, so this is where we'll stop. It does really good against all these, and in 5BC exclusive stuff. I'm going to try and avoid 5BC stuff if I can, but yeah, so that's kind of the base overview. Now, what do we want to do when we're going with Shrapnel Axe? Well, let's start with shields, and we'll open this guy up. Also, shout outs shout out to B.me for creating, I believe he created this tier list, but even if he didn't, shout out to him anyways. You should go check him out. He's one of the goats of Dead Cells, and chances are you already know about B.me. And if you don't, you need to know. He's great. So, shields, offhand, skills, and mutations. What do we want to do with Shrapnel Axe? So, for shields, it's really simple. You want the blood shield, the knockback shield, or the, I really wish this was in like categories, the thunder shield. Plain and simple. Easy as that. If you're playing red, blood shield, and you want to get bonus to bleeding on your Shrapnel Axe. Nice and easy. Very simple combination, but it's very strong. And then you also probably get open wounds, but Shrapnel Axe, in my opinion, doesn't excel with a shield. It absolutely works because shields are stupid. But yeah, you can find other things. If you can get bonus to poison, or causes poison on this, or the knockback shield. The knockback shield is actually very good with the Shrapnel Axe because it lets you start firing off those shrapnels after you parry a Hand of the King or a boss, concierge. In my video, I believe I go to Conjunctivius. Let's see. Yeah, we go to Conjunctivius, and here you can see the damage very well. Let's go a little back, and we're running on purple, which I think is the better style, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's just look at the damage of these Shrapnel Axes, plus, you know, everything else we have going on. Look up here. When I get an actual combo off, that's when you'll really notice, because right now it's just slowly ticking down, but anytime I'm able to get those hits off, you see a good chunk of her health. I believe it shows better in the next phase, so let's wait for this. Shrapnel Axe is very good against the tentacle, because you can just get shots pierce and just sort of rush through that wall of tentacle waves. Very good against all three of the first bosses and both the second bosses, I think. So let's see here. This is, I believe, where it really shows off. Look at that huge chunk of damage we did. We took her down to her phase and before she even got a hit off. So if you can get those hits off, it's very, very powerful. And that's why I don't think shields are what you want to do. Now, weirdly enough, I don't like knockback shield that much. However, I think this might be the best shield with Shrapnel Axe, because you want to be able to just shred through concierge or Hand of the King from a range and just take them out with the Shrapnel Axe. But yeah, that's kind of what you want to do with shields. You parry them to hopefully get the status going, and then hopefully you have that status bonus on your Shrapnel Axe and you shred through the enemy. Very usable, but in general, I think offhand works a little better. Now, the reason why is because with offhand, and you can see it in this run here, let me pop it up and just go into like right here. Right now I have a, actually I want to find somewhere where I show off my stats, because I think throwing knife might be the best item with this. Here, let's go to when I get the throwing knife, because I clearly get it. It's clearly a cursed one. Go a little bit deeper in. Alright, so here's this. So, right now, it's already great. This is my starter one, and this is the one I get after. I believe I run this for the entire video, but if so, I keep it very similar. We have bonus to bleed and releases a toxic cloud. So as soon as I see that, we're set, because we can easily get bleed, or let's just say, for example, firebrands. We can easily get fire going. So if it has bonus to burn, then you go with that. Or you can easily get rooted with Boy's Axe. Slow down with ice shards. Ice shards is broken with everything, so we're not gonna talk. We're gonna talk about it, but Shrapnel Axe really excels with those offhand things, applying a status, which lets it basically be a shotgun that rips through any enemy. So once we get into the curse right here, let's see, let's skip just a smidgen more. And we'll be talking about the skills and whatnot in just a minute, but they go to help a long way. Part of the reason why I like Throw Knife is we can use Ripper with it on purple, but in general, Throw Knife is very good with it. So we get this Throw Knife right here, and we're going to take it because it's better than what we got, obviously, already, and we can upgrade it. What we're going to fish now is for that poison. However, we go into these enemies, and we can see the Ripper plus the Shrapnel Axe is going to shred through enemies. It basically one-shots or two-shots everything. And part of that's because of support, but that's why you run support. And each and every enemy we're just going to be able to easily, quickly take out one after another. If it's something like a rat, we can use our shrapnel to kill it. And yeah, that's the idea. And that's why the offhand strategies work really well with it, in my opinion. So what do we use for our offhand? Well, it's not that complicated. We only got a few. We got ice shards, we got throwing knives, as I was saying earlier, and as soon as I find them, that would be perfect. Man, how's that for eyesight? That's what I was hoping it was a little more organized, but it's all good. Throwing knife, Boy's Axe, wherever it is. Boy's Axe, here it is. And firebrands. And boomerang as well. Now, all of these are very good with the Shrapnel Axe because you can pair them to have the double attack on the same button. You always want to move your offhand to the left side because it'll go off first, and then you can use that to just make the Shrapnel Axe killing machine. Ideally, what you want is one of these to have synergy with the Shrapnel Axe. So you want this to have oil, and then the ice shard goes. You want this to bleed. Shrapnel Axe has bonus to bleed. Root, fire. Boomerang can get a bunch of other things on it. It can get poison, it can get oil. You know, you want stuff, you want to get the actual things on it. Boomerang's probably the worst of these. All four of these work incredibly well with it, I think. As long as you can get the proper fix on your Shrapnel Axe. I think Throw Knife is probably the best one because you can use Ripper, which we will be talking about in a minute, of why it's so strong. But, yeah. Other than that, other offhand options. Obviously, we can use the Alchemic Carbine or the Hakuto bow. Hakuto's really good because you're getting all those shrapnels, giving a bunch of extra damage. I would say Hakuto's actually probably like there. Maybe even there. Any of these would work really great with it depending on what your Shrapnel Axe has. Alchemic Carbine, you obviously want this to like have bonus to bleed and then have the Shrapnel Axe bleeding. This would probably work really good on red, this combo right here. Start of the show, definitely the kunai plus the Shrapnel Axe though, and we'll talk about that in just a second more. Other than that, run a shield. There are other items you could run. You could run something like Hemorrhage if you have it unlocked. Hit him with the Hemorrhage, then shred through him with the Shrapnel Axes. Ice Bow, Frost Blast, they're both fine. I wouldn't use them often, but if I saw a really good Frost Blast, I could see myself using it with this. Now, on purple, we have a couple of specific skills that work really well. And actually, I think that it might be better to talk about mutations first. because mutations are very important for the Shrapnel axe. Because if you're going on red or going on purple, the way you're going to play it is very different. So, let's assume we're playing on red first. We have all these items, this, you're green. But yeah, we got all these, even this kind of. So we have a few options of what we can do. Shrapnel axe is technically a melee weapon, which is why it works really well in red sometimes. What we can do is get open wounds. That's great. Fantastic. Because let's say we have the bonus to bleed, but we also have bonus to burn in oil. We have plus 160% damage possibly going on. We don't want to take this, unless we find a really good one, obviously. Then we just take it. We want to take this. So we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Right off the bat, we have 160% bonus damage to our Shrapnel axe. Really strong. Other options include... Where is it? Frenzy. Frenzy, obviously, is one of the reasons why you'd want to run this on red. Very powerful. One of the best mutations in the game, in my opinion. Lets you heal throughout the biome. Red also is just going to be a lot more bulky. And it's going to allow you to do something like Hakuto's Shrapnel axe a lot better, I think. Ideally, I think for red, what you would want to do is... Let me find it real quick. Dead inside. Dead inside, where are you? Is this an alphabetical order, maybe? No. Yes. Yes, it is. That makes things a lot easier. So that's probably the ideal build for red. This can probably swap depending on what you're doing. If you don't have bonus to bleed or you have a cleaver, this can swap. So we use this, and then we either use this guy right here, or if we want to get fancy with it, we can do stuff like use the ice shards, even though it's off color, and use G, H. This is not fully in alphabetical order, is it? Because Heart of Ice isn't there. Heart of Ice, here it is. Alright, we can do that. And that's specifically with the Ice Shard build. When I do this, so we do that. That's a very powerful build right there. Or if we don't want to run the Ice Shard, I get it. It's Ice Shard. You don't always want to break the game completely. We get rid of Heart of Ice. And we don't want to run this because we don't have any good bleed synergy at all. We can just very easily take something like Berserker. Ammo. I think ammo applies to that, but you don't really need ammo. Skip ammo. You can take Vengeance. Any of these work really good on red. I personally like having the cooldown reduction if I can, especially for something like Lacerate and Aura, which is going to be one of the good skills. I'm just going to put you right there for later. Now, that's kind of... Red's real simple. You just wail on the enemies with an offhand thing. Maybe grab Hakuto Bow if you can. I think Hakuto is probably best on red with this. Purple is where it gets interesting, because I personally think Shrapnel axe is a lot better on purple, but it's a lot more dangerous, obviously. You're going to be doing the glass cannon style. Let's leave these here, just so people know. And that. Those are all probably going to be your red go-tos, depending on your build. I guess also Soldier Resistance, but Soldier Resistance is kind of crap in 1.9. I would... you can skip Soldier Resistance. Alright, anyway, let's talk about purple, because purple's where it gets a lot more interesting. And that's what this build's going to be showcasing. You can already see, here, I'll only skip later into the build in Summer and Sanctuary. Our skill set is, our mutations are way different. We have Ripper, Support, and Necromancy. Knock it off. So, what makes this so good? I think Ripper is fine regardless. But in particular, with the throwing knife, we are going to have infinite ammo, essentially, when we have Ripper, because we're constantly going to be getting that bonus damage from Ripper. Let's go down to Ripper. Ripper. Hand-to-hand attacks cause 3 arrows stuck in the enemy to fall out, each dealing base 95 damage. So this, combined with the throw knife, combined with the shrapnel axe, means we're going to be doing a bunch of extra damage. Now we combine that with something like support, which, this is incorrect right here. It's based on percent now. Let me go to prior to the giant fight when I reset my mutation, because I know I'll probably look at my skills there. Alright. So, if we look here, by the time we get to giant, Ripper's doing 3,000 damage on each arrow. That's already really good. And then, come on, move down, idiot. Why am I thinking about networking? That's awful. By the time we get to giant, we're already getting plus 36% damage on our shrapnel axe. And that combined with the heavy turret is going to give us an extra 15%. So that's a 50% increase just naturally on every single hit with support. Support is one of the best mutations you can get in the game at the moment. Here it is. And on purple, it just is even better. Even without purple, I think this is worth it. Sometimes if you have a good turret to run. I would, honestly, if I had a cleaver, I would consider running something like this for my red build. But yeah, once we have support, once we have Ripper, we're going to see the shrapnel axe just doing insane damage. And if we get a good turret, we're just going to put this here now, because I think heavy turret's probably the go-to. I think flamethrower's probably a go-to. We sort of have to talk about the skills and mutations at the same time, unfortunately, but these are all going to be good go-tos for shrapnel axe, for your turrets. Heavy turret, where are you? Yeah, it's definitely not in alphabetical order. I think it is like in kind of alphabetical order. So these are all incredible with support. Each and every one of these is going to give you huge damage buffs. And if we look at it, once we get into the giant fight, in one combo, his hand goes down. And then the next combo, he is down to right here on his health. So already we can tell that we can kill the giant in probably 4 to 6 combos for sure. So now we just go back, we gotta dodge his lasers one time, and his hand is already gone because this bleed works at a range. And that's why this combo is really good, is that even when we're keeping away from the giant, we can still hurt him really bad because of the support. And then by the time we actually get up to him, we can use our Ripper to take all of those knives out. So we hit him again, and he's down to almost halfway. So probably 3 more interactions we see. We got our dodge, easy. So now, again, probably still 3 more interactions because he did a phase transition. But because of how quick this build destroys his hands, we're able to destroy that hand while he's doing his phase transition. So it actually turns into about 4 phases. He does that, we're going to activate our ice armor, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. And even while we were dodging that and trying to focus on defending against the rocks, we were still able to take him down to almost no HP. And he's already at this because heavy turret or cleaver or flamethrower turret destroys his hands super quick. So now he's dead. And it doesn't change when we get to Hand of the King. If we look at Hand of the King, as soon as this is done loading. Here, let me skip ahead a little bit. Right away, we're going to see a ton of damage on Hand of the King. So in one combo, we took him down probably about an eighth of his HP, and that's really insane to start out on Hand of the King. So we get out of there, we take a bit of damage, which is unfortunate, but that's why we have something like Disengage later. This is really good for boss fights, and I'll talk about it in a second. And as you can see, it just very quickly chunks his HP down enough to where we can do the fight with the Ripper support combo. And it goes the same into the spoiler biome, but we're not going to talk about that. So yeah, Ripper plus support, incredible with this build. If you don't have the kunai instead, you can just take... Where is it? Well, we're gonna take Necromancy almost always for biomes. I would say take Necromancy up until after the Timekeeper / Giant fight. Take Disengage if you feel you need to, but Necromancy works fine because it heals us slowly, or heals us slowly and cures our malaise, so we don't really have to worry about malaise for the entire run on purple. Other option is Gastronomy. I prefer Necro, but Gastronomy is also very strong, so it's kind of a preference thing. I see positives on both sides of them. A lot of people will run Masochist. Again, nothing wrong with that. If you want to do support, Masochist, Gastronomy, that's absolutely a combo. Or Necromancy, either or. Personally, I think this is going to be your best bet if you can get it with the kunai. But, and you'll see a lot more of this in the video of how strong it is. For bosses, feel free to take Disengage. Very handy, especially on tactics. If you don't feel comfortable going into Hand of the King without Disengage. And he might have gotten it on me here. Let's see. Regardless, it will keep you safe and allow you to do a full heal. Lastly, if you do get to the spoiler boss, I don't want to show what I did, but I took off Ripper at that point, because Ripper's damage was kind of falling off a bit. And more importantly, I believe I still had... So yeah, he didn't get me down to Disengage, but feel free to run Disengage. I even did it there just to be safe. When you get to spoiler boss or Hand of the King, wherever you're at boss cell-wise, final boss, what you're going to want to do is support with whatever turret you got. I think heavy turret's the best. And we'll talk about skills a bit more in just a moment. But I think heavy turret's the best. So you're going to do support, Disengage. If you want to use Ripper with throw knives, absolutely. Or if you have, you know, one of these Masochists, go for it. But I think personally, as long as you have the potions for it, you're going to want to run... I believe this is Emergency Triage. If that's... Let me just make sure real quick. Mutations. Emergency Triage is the up arrow, I believe, right? Or the down arrow. Yes. Use this combo for the final boss. Support, Disengage, Triage. Really, you can't go wrong with any of these mutations, depending on what you're running. But for red, do this, and either support or Berserker or Open Wounds. For purple, run support. Absolutely, you're always going to want to run a turret. Something like Owl is okay, but I think Owl is overrated in 1.9 a lot. And the turrets are just better than Owl. But anyways, those are the mutations. A lot of options, obviously. What else do we have for options on skills? Because we have these turrets, we already saw, and you can already see in this run that we're running Ice Armor. Ice Armor, I think, is the best, one of the best skills in the game. I think it's only outclassed by Tonic, which you can absolutely run. If you're running this on red, This is, honestly, I think if you're running this on red, do this, and you're good. With Frenzy, Denside, and one of these. But yeah, because at that point you're just sort of, you have a super powerful shotgun that'll rush through everything. Frenzy's gonna heal you back. You have Tonic for the Malaise protection, and you have Lacerate and Aura to handle bats and whatnot, and just general mob. So, Lacerate and Aura, very good, very powerful. If you're running purple, I think Ice Armor is just so good on purple. Being able to survive an extra 40 hits throughout a run. We go back to Conjunctivius on our Tentacle phase. I already have way more than enough damage with support, plus the heavy turret, obviously, as we see in the second phase. And right there, that prevented me from getting hit. I think I get hit right after, but if you think about on tactics, let's see how much this next hit on me does. I'm at 94%, and we'll just take a look at how much damage I take when I get hit next time. I didn't no-hit this. I never no-hit this fight. I absolutely didn't no-hit this. There's no way I no-hit this. This is why you don't record videos like a week and a half in advance. Did I no-hit this? There's no way. I've never no-hit this fight. There's gonna be a terrible example if I no-hit this. But, actually no, it won't be a terrible example because the Ice Armor saved me from a no-hit, possibly. Or got me the no-hit. I think she hit me right here. Yeah. Okay. But, if I didn't suck against the easiest phase, that's a great example of the Ice Armor. It can get you no-hits. It prevents huge damage. Let's look at how much Hand of the Cane did to us, since I failed at that example I was talking about. Because he did, we already saw him hit me. So he hits me here in the first phase, I believe. I'm at 76%. Okay. And after rally, I was at 56%. So that's 5 hits and I'm dead. Being generous, depending on how much bulk you have, etc. on tactics. Now, throughout an entire run, you're probably going to be activating Ice Armor 40 to 80 times, possibly. Even more. You could activate it on every enemy if you want. You could just wait. And having that extra hit adds up a ton. So if you're playing on tactics, this is the build I ran on the video, and that's the build I recommend in general. Other options are Cleaver, Wolf Trap, Firebrands, Boy's Axe. Boy's Axe is good because it lets you constantly ripper out the Boy's Axe with each hit. And it just does a lot of damage. Boy's Axe is very good with this item. But yeah. Definitely recommend Ice Armor. Definitely recommend Heavy Turret. If you're running red, you absolutely can just run a turret with support still, because support's just that strong right now. But there are better options in red, I believe. I also don't think you should run Shrapnel Axe in red a lot, but you can. Other skills. What else can we use to really take advantage? We can use Wave of Denial. Wave of Denial is just very good on purple in general. Or red. You can use this on red, absolutely. This will get enemies off of you, which can be really nice if you usually run shields. I could totally see myself if I was running Shrapnel Axe running that. But yeah, Wave of Denial, kind of niche, but very good utility. You can run Owl if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. Corrosive Cloud would be really strong, especially on red. You could run that combo. You could also run that on purple, honestly, if you wanted. But I think the Ice Armor is just really nice. This combo right here has super good synergy because you can get bonus to poison, bleed, etc. on the flamethrower, and Curse of Cloud does poison and bleed, but also drops oil really easily. So this combo is really, really strong. Ultimately, I think those are the main things you want to use. Other skills you could possibly use, Phaser could be okay. With Ice Shards, you could probably run that. That number could be really strong on purple. And then instead of support, you would run... That's tricky. You'd run that, and... Oh, this, easily. Because that'd give you more ice armors. Or you could run that, or you could run Disengage. Or, Disengage is already there. You could run... Let's look at the purple mutations. What would we run here? We could run Scheme. Scheme wouldn't be terrible. Yeah. I think Scheme would be the go-to on that. And Scheme is the scroll, which is right here. So that's a very possible build with Ice Shards. That's kind of the classic. You could also just run Heart of Ice, honestly, if you wanted. I'd say Heart of Ice would probably be better than the crit style. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. That's what you're going to want. Ideally, I think the strongest build you can do... Let's see, is there anything else? Stun Grenade, possibly. It returns arrows. It could be okay. Knife Dance, possibly, is good. If you find really good versions of like Knife Dance, Infantry Grenade, Stun Grenade, Powerful Grenade, Fire Grenade, feel free to run them. But I think the best option is the build I'm going to showcase. And at the end of the day, I believe this is the build. But yeah, that's Shrapnel X. We will be doing the video on Wednesday for it. And feel free to check it out if you want. And if you have any feedback for this sort of setup, I know this was 37 minutes. I honestly thought it was going to be like 15, 20. I probably could make it shorter if I really want to. But if you have any feedback, just let me know. And I will see everyone on Wednesday.